Not for ourselves alone are we born. And welcome to another daily yap over here, where I talk for 10 minutes about some random topics, and then after 10 minutes I cut it off with no editing and nothing else of that sort. Going back to the quote that I just said, not for ourselves alone are we born, by Cicero, I thought about this just a little bit. So most of my thoughts on this are probably not fully formed just yet. So, of course, there is a time and place to be quote-unquote selfish in action, right? You have to nourish yourself. You have to care for yourself in essence, right? And of course, that is happening, and that has to happen as well. I have heard a part where, yes, it was a relationship advice, and the relationship advice was, I'm not going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of myself for you. And I want you to take care of yourself for me. And I think that's actually more profound than it might sound. You might have to listen to it a couple of times. But I think this is definitely true. You have to take care of yourself, because obviously if, let's say you are not as strong as you might be. Let's just do a very mundane example. You are not very physically fit and not very physically strong. In normal life, especially in the modern world, this really rarely matters, right? You walk down to your car, you get into your car, you drive to your job, that's it. Maybe there's even an elevator in the office, or maybe there's an elevator at home. So really, I mean, you know, you don't need to be either fit nor strong, really. But let's say your mom just turned 80 and she has a big grocery shopping to do. Are you gonna let her carry her, like, all of her groceries up to the 6th floor, right? Because the elevator is broken right now. And if you're then not fit and not strong, all of a sudden the thing rings true, right? Take care of yourself for me. And I think in this whole equation, the for me part, or the I will take care of myself for you, I think the for you does the most of the heavy lifting. I think something that we do forget some of the time, right? Some of the time. I've got another quote which is sort of ties a lot of the ideas together. In doing what we ought, we deserve no praise, because it is our duty. St. Augustine. And I have been thinking about this idea of duty for a bit. And I really think we talk never about duty in our society. Like, when is the last time that you heard that? Maybe from a teacher, but like in a very abstract sense, I would imagine. Because most of the time when people tell you, oh, this is your duty, you have to do this. It's in a finger-wagging way, not realizing that from duty, everything else springs. And by the way, I'm saying this in a very hypocritical way, because I'm currently, I'm on a journey myself, which is, I guess, good. So these are also reminders for myself. And I've got another quote. This is a quote by myself. If we are neither pushed by ambition nor dragged by fear, we will be buried by death. I don't know if this is profound or not, but I thought it was interesting, at the very least. If it's nothing else, it might be interesting. And the idea of duty, doing what you ought to do, right? Because it's not what you have to do, it's what you ought to do. Because have to would suppose if you don't do it, then like you have to eat. Otherwise you die, which is an outcome that is unfavorable, let's say. And that's interesting. That is interesting. The next sort of thought in this chain of ideas, and this one is probably the least developed yet, so I'm not 100% sure. It is probably very clunky in its thought, but I'm still going to share it because I think it is interesting. That the freedom of a society will start with the freedom of the individual. That's fair, and I think that all of us can agree on that. However, the freedom of the individual starts with the self-enslavement of oneself by oneself. Because ultimate individual freedom will lead to the enslavement of someone else. Now, I think that is an interesting thought. Like I said, I haven't thought it through entirely. It is a very new thought that I just had basically a couple of hours ago, I'm pretty sure. And my idea, if I want to expand on this, is as follows. We are, let's say if you are living in the West or one of the other countries that is, higher in freedom, let's say, then you are sort of, what would you say? You are sort of shielded from taking some amount of responsibility. Now, not always, and not everyone, and there are still people who are very much, well, how would you say? They don't have sort of this like ultimate freedom. But a lot of people, they seek the ultimate freedom, sort of, so quote unquote, and some people attain it. But I think that it is very interesting because, at least in my personal life, as I have sort of actually gotten more freedom because of the things that I've been doing, it's not even, it's not even something that is worth attaining, because in this sort of ultimate freedom of being able to do whatever you want, you end up doing nothing because there are too many options. So you must be guided by something. So I guess we get back to, if we are neither pushed by ambition nor dragged by our fear, we will be buried by our death or by a death. So interesting. There is a quote. Oh, interesting. Especially that is by Charles Bukowski. That's not actually the quote that I was thinking about. I was actually about the one with raise in the morning. You can't raise in the morning. Wait a second. You can't raise in the morning. You call this freedom. There's a quote. This is not by Bukowski. I want the one from, I think it is either Seneca or Marcus Aurelius. It might be Marcus Aurelius then. Marcus Aurelius, because I love the Stoicism. I can't find it. The Stoicism philosophy. I do like that. Now the quote that I was trying to find, and I cannot find it right now. It's something about you tell yourself to rise in the morning, but you stay in bed, and you call this freedom. It's something like that. It's something to that effect. And I'm pretty sure it's by Seneca. It might also be Epictetus. Who even knows? At this point, it might be one of those. Okay. Sometimes a real issue is that when you have so many different sort of inputs, then you don't sometimes know where things come from. The other quote that I've just read, I was live Googling this, by the way. When nobody wakes you in the morning and nobody waits for you at night, and you can do whatever you want, what do you call it? Freedom or loneliness? That's by Charles Bukowski. Damn. Okay. That's pretty good. I like this. So basically, there you go. That's freedom, right? You don't have to wake up. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you desire. You have no strings that you need to pull on or you're being pulled on. But what is it really? Freedom. I don't know. Now, this might also not be the freedom that we talk about, but as we get to it, I do think, and this is like I said, we're all over the place, but that's what we get. Sometimes these things, these yaps are interesting. Sometimes they're literally just thoughts being created like live, literally. So we'll see. Yeah, one thing to sort of end this with is another quote: how you do anything is how you do everything. And it doesn't always ring true, but it mostly rings true. It's one of those things where, yes, I do think that it makes sense. So think about that. Think about if you actually had the ultimate freedom, if the ultimate freedom really is doing whatever you want to do, or saying to yourself, you know what? No, I ought to do something else. And then actually doing that. That, I guess, is duty. And my duty, is to say goodbye and talk to you tomorrow.